So the first module, key concepts, mindset, and a customer-centric approach. The new currency is customer service. Some of the tactics we're using ain't customer-friendly. When we think of that top-down sell, we show them, oh, here, this is your payment, right? It's a fight. It's a fight. What do you mean that's my payment? And then we're negotiating with them, and instead of giving them some option and letting them drive the wheel. So I'm going to show you how to get your customer to drive the wheel. Now, before we talk about this, our number one goal is to create enthusiastic lifetime customers. It's not to 5-pay, 6-pay, 20-pay. If you 20-pay and they're not coming back, nobody cares. And some dealer groups are talking about, why is sales slow this year? Is it the weather, the rates? Is it traffic? No, it's because these customers, their last stop is the F&I, and we're not often practicing that duty of care, and nobody knows why these customers are coming back because they don't know what's going on in these offices. And some of the tactics we're using is not conducive to that experience. But guess what? We don't always know better, right? If you had the skills, you could apply them. So I'm going to share you some stuff to help you have that better experience. Building trust is the key to lasting foundational, building trust is the foundation to lasting relationships. When a customer comes in, you gotta build rapport. Look, the prerequisite to be successful in this job, people skills, that's it. The rest, you're gonna learn. So what does it mean when a customer comes in? You gotta know about them. Your salespeople are a wealth of knowledge. Do you do a turnover with them? And do you ask them about the customer? Because they're gonna share experience that you could tie down to the sale. But often enough, we're running in blind. You don't need to run in blind, because when you ask the customer those questions, you could tie it down to their experience and it will make sense. And I'll give examples of that later. Again, I take this twice. Knowledge without application, it says is just information, is an absolute joke. Imagine you knowing certain concepts and you're not applying yourself and you're telling your friends. So I say the law of attraction. And you know what people say? Oh yeah, you could manifest stuff. Oh, are you doing it? No. Who cares? Now, we talk about we have skills. We look at the discovery sheet, you list your skills. Guess what? If you're not using them, who cares? We have friends with a wealth of knowledge. We're going to say, we know this person. They're doing 6K copy, okay? But we're not calling them. Who cares? So just reach out. Reach out and touch somebody. It's like AT&T. The difference between pressure and persistence is technique. What does this mean? You got to ask the customer multiple times for the deal, but if you use the right technique, guess what? It's not pressure. But I understand the job. We're asking the customer says no, we ask them again. We're not strapped with extra tools to ask again, so I totally get it. And that's why I'm not here. This is not an interrogation. I'm on your team. I've been here. I went through the trenches. I came out with some concept that I want to share so you could break that track. Could you believe when a customer says, no, I don't want my payment to change? That's the best thing you're going to hear. So when we get to the objection, you're going to see how you want them to say that, because it allows you to share some more value and insights. But yet when we're presenting, we tend to give them all it at once. And then at the end, when they say, no, we got nothing to go. Just remember when you learned the product knowledge, you didn't learn it all in one day. So we're spitting off to the customer all these angles and we expect them to know. They're just going to say no. They're not going to ask for clarity. But I'm going to share you a way to make that clear for the customer. Transparency is in your advantage like you wouldn't believe. And a lot of people are going to say, we are transparent. We got the paperwork, we showed them that. But when I say transparency, we want our customers to make a well-informed decision. And guess what? When we say paint protection, it's not, they don't know what that means. We know what it means, so we assume they do. But here's let me show you about paint protection. You know your car has, like you said, you like that shine in it? Well, there's 3 levels. There's the base coat, and then there's that metallic flake coat, and then there's that clear coat. It's so beautiful. Everyone's going to love it. Well, the sun won't care. Here's what I mean. And then you talk about your product, but then I'll say how you apply it. If you paint pictures and tell stories, they see it. Hey, you know your blue car, we're going to take it into the shop. They're going to take this paste and put it all over the surface of the vehicle. It's going to look like toothpaste at first, but when they rub it off, it actually leaves a thin layer on your vehicle. Protects from bird drop, tree sap, environmental fallout. You know when you go to the beach, what do you put on your skin to protect from the sun? Sunscreen. It's sunscreen for the car. So people are spending 30 grand and they forget the sunscreen. Now the customer, they know what sunscreen is, they know what paint protection is. When you're talking about the tech, hey, you know your cell phone, when it breaks, you replace it? Yeah, well, the car has like 30 of those in it. We don't have mechanics, we have technicians. When something happens, they just replace it. Cell phone's expensive, well, so is the tech. They understand tech, but instead we're saying the technology, the components here, the RCA cable, they don't understand all that, so we want to make it easy. Undercoat. Hey, you know your shoe soles protect underneath of your feet? Yeah, well, this is what it does for underneath the car. So it's simple things like that. So transparency. The average repair, hey, the average repair is about $2K. That's where we might say. And the customer in their mind, click on bullshit. But then you say average repair is $2K because they're not fixing stuff, they're replacing it. When you look at it, our labor rates posted at the back, it's $185 an hour. That's just labor. Rule of thumb is parts is approximately double labor because they're not fixing the stuff they're replacing. So when you put those numbers together, it's like $555 an hour. So let's say you have a minor repair, say 5-hour job, half a day, a seat module, 5 times 555, that's $2,775. When you root it in logic, the customers will understand. But are we doing that? So again, it's sometimes just peeling back that onion a little bit because we're saying paint protection. We're saying, do you want a Pro Pack? What's Pro Pack? Right? So we want to make sure we dial it down. And a vehicle is an item that expresses one's identity. You got to use it to your advantage. Are you asking the customers why they buy the car? And the reason why I say that, when you ask them, they're going to tell you stuff that's important to them. Oh, I like the technology, the safety features, the mitigation system. So later when you're presenting, hey, remember you mentioned that mitigation system? Oh, yeah, if something were to happen, boom, 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 boom. But instead, we know what we like about the car, and then we're pushing that on the customer. I got a 2021 Range Rover SVR. I just bought it because it's quick and it looks sleek. Someone asked me what the engine is. I don't know what the engine is. I don't care. So we got to make sure that we're in the customer's interest, because we're 1 out of 8 billion. But if you ask somebody else what they feel, they will share that knowledge. So it's just something to consider. Now, generally, we want to be more engaging in these sessions. But because we're in one day and I want to make sure you get the goods, there's going to be a lot of me talking. That's why I'm losing my voice. So bear with me. But if you have any questions, reach out and touch somebody, because I'll definitely answer those questions if you need some clarity. And I want to make it clear, there's no sale to be had. There's information to share. There's clarity to be given. There's no sale to be had. Okay, so we're not in the car business. We're in the people business. You know what is great? Because someone's going to say, we're not selling cars, we're at a Kia store. We're not selling cars, we're at a Volkswagen store. Like as if they did a survey and they know what these customers are. A person who was at a Honda store would have went into a Kia store, possibly in that. So it's just where they land. But what everyone has is feelings, and feelings provoke change. How are you talking to your people? How are you talking to the customers, right? So feelings provoke change. It's not what we say, it's how we say it. Imagine I said this to you. I'm sorry. You'd be like, you're not sorry, but you said it. So just remember, how are we saying? When we say we went over a warranty presentation, how did you do it? Because I don't care what the title is on somebody's door, it's how you do the job. Period. Some finance managers are running a fraud through that office. Is that a finance manager? So let's not worry about the title chasing and worry about the jobs we're doing, and we could find that change within. So as we move on, now just so you know, if you open up your books, you have this in there. So I know some of you have it open, but if you want to take notes, feel free to grab notes in that booklet. It's going to follow along with where I'm going, and you have the agenda on the other side. So this is where it gets exciting. And the reason why is, literally, I'll get a receptionist who's sent to me, who the GM or the DP wants them to be a finance manager. They go through my 2-day training, and they're dropping it like it's hot. And I'll tell you why, because I like to make sense. I'm not just going to say, no sale to be had, and you don't understand why. So let me share with you. Feelings drive change. And I'll give you an example of that. I wear 2 watches. One is because when I left the business, it was 2020, I was 40. I felt I want something to show it. And I just went on the internet, and I was scrolling on Instagram, and I saw a watch called Date 40. I just saw the 40. I'm like, I see that number all the time. I'm 40. I'm going to buy it. To the moment where I went to buy it, and after I left the store, I saw 2 20s on the ground. It's magical. It's magical. So I buy things with purpose. Okay? Now this watch, I never had a watch. I never had any watch before 2019. But this one in 2020. I'll tell you why I have this. 2019, there was the pandemic starting. Me and my friend met, long-term friend, and he said, Mike, what are you doing during the pandemic? I'm like, hey, everyone's all rushing over there. I'm going to focus on myself. I focus on personal, spiritual, education, relationships, and physical. The physical one, I said, I'm starting a workout routine on March 2nd. So I met with him February 28th. 2 days later, I started my workout routine. But I said, I'm starting a workout routine March 2nd. I hired a trainer. And the reason why I hired a trainer is because I want to go once every second day for a year. And I don't think I have it in me. I'm hiring a trainer to keep me accountable. And why did I want to do my workout? Not for the physical. It's because if you can't do what you say you're going to do in life, there's absolutely nothing for you. Like, you got to do stuff when you don't feel like it, right? It's consistency, not intensity. But if you can do what you say you're going to do, the world is for you because it's consistency, not intensity. So I told him that. And he said to me, hey, and just let me go back. Before I had this watch, I never wanted an iPhone watch. You know what I thought? Why are people so connected? This is ridiculous. I'll be in a conversation and all of a sudden I got to check my phone. It's too much connectivity. So then he told me, when I was talking to him about my training, he said this, I'm doing training in my basement. And he just scrolled through the watch. He says, look, I track my workouts here. You could track your swimming, you could track your workout, you could track your running. As soon as I saw it, I'm like, I went to buy it the next day. Because I saw what it would do for me, literally. I bought it the next day, and I actually bought another friend who can afford it. But the theory is this. I didn't want the watch because what I thought it would bring, okay? I didn't want it. When I saw what it could do for me, it's the best thing I have in my life. That's why I wear it too. This kept me accountable. I did my workout, and you know what? This pushed me because when you see that you're not at your target time, you almost like, This time I strapped up my shoes angry. Doing the workout. My friends would finish a workout and I'm like, you ain't gonna one-up me, and then I'd go do a workout even on the extra day. So what does this mean? Customers are gonna tell you they don't want warranty. They're gonna tell you they don't want this. They don't want these things. They want what it does for them. But are you showing them that? And that's the key. I'll give you a theoretical example so you can understand why feelings drive change. Say you're going to Mexico tomorrow. You look on your laptop, it says, wow, plus 35 degrees. You're like, oh, God, that's good. And then under you see cartels shooting random international guests. Come at your own discretion. Guess what? Some people will cancel that flight. Those who do go, who are brave, they're not going with a smile. They'll be like checking around, and they want out of that airport right quick. Okay? So here's the difference. Imagine you're going to the same trip, okay, tomorrow. 35 degrees, the cartel's still randomly shooting, but you didn't look at the information. You're going there with a smile on your face. So when we're telling the customer how cute the product is and how shiny it's gonna look, you don't offer them that opportunity to know how the hardships are so they can make that decision, because their feelings will drive change. So it's important because when the customer says no, it's facts for them. It's rooted in what Uncle Tommy says, what they believe. So when we say how cute the product is, how great it is, how shiny it is, and we're smiling while we're doing it, they don't have a gap. It doesn't move, and they'll say, okay, good information. But the moment you say, hey, the average repair is this, and here's why. I didn't know that. Here's why paint protection protects your skin. It's like, you know, these bugs, they kind of, through the sun, they kind of are very acidic, and they leave these, I didn't know that. So it doesn't matter what Uncle Tommy said, doesn't matter what Uncle Freddie said. I said I didn't want this, and I'm not immune to this. So we got to articulate what it does for the customer so they can make a well-informed decision. They can't make a well-informed decision if we're telling them how shiny it is. So you're not manipulating the customer, you're telling them facts. Because if you don't tell them facts, and all of a sudden they have an issue, I didn't know it could be like this. So you got to tell them that, and their feelings, if they have discomfort, will drive change. Now here's your job, not to sell. See these glasses here? Imagine your customer's wearing a blue set of glasses. What are they going to see? All blue, right? When we look at the world, we don't see it how it is, we see it how we are. But in this field, you're trained professionals. Guess what? You got a blue set of glasses, you got a yellow set, you got a pink set, you got an indigo set, you got a green set, you got all the sets. All you're saying to your customer is this, here, try this on, what do you see? Oh, I see orange. Okay, what about now? Oh, I see green. If somebody sees all these perspectives, they're smart enough to make the right decision. The same way, I ain't gonna sell you, I'm gonna share concepts, and you're smart enough to know, oh gosh, there's another way of doing it. So we gotta give our customer that opportunity. So the new sale is education, and if you educate something, their feelings get involved, and that drives change. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, painting pictures and telling stories. Oh man, this is a lost art. A thought is as real as something you could touch. Now, I'll give you an example. When the customers come into your office, a lot of times they don't want to buy nothing, especially the seasons ones. So they're like this. Speak to me, right? Speak to me. And then they want to say no. So I'm going to offer you that same kind of understanding. So don't think of what I'm going to say right now. Just like the customers don't want to buy product, don't think of this. Don't think of a pink elephant. Did you think of one? Impossible not to. Okay, try real hard, because they're really trying hard. Uncle said don't buy nothing from those guys, okay? So don't think of a blue monkey wearing yellow shoes and some Nikes. Yellow Nikes. It's like impossible, but there's often smiles on her face like, what is this clown talking about? Well, here's a cue. When you're building rapport with your customer and you find out information about them, say you ask at the beginning stage, hey, what are you going to use the car for? Yeah, I'm just using it for work and back. My son uses it as well. He goes to Coquitlam to play hockey in the wintertime, but that's about it. Okay, later when you're talking about the solution of warranty, hey, your warranty covers all your repairs. Remember I said we don't have mechanics, we have technicians. Now they don't fix stuff, they replace it. Oh, you also have roadside assistance. Remember you said your son's going to Coquitlam? Well, if he's ever stuck out in -30 on the mountains trying to change a tire, look, let's not worry about that. Call roadside assistance. They'll do it safely and take him there. They could picture that situation. They're probably picturing little Johnny brushing off traffic. But it allows them to put them at the wheel so they could see, I could see why I could need it. So that's why you got to build rapport. But instead what we're doing is we're sometimes coming in blanket, not building rapport, and the customer's in BC, and we're going to say this, hey, if you're ever in Manitoba and something happens, we'll tow the car to the nearest dealership. But if they're not in Manitoba, they can't even relate to that. But if you share an example of their own experience, they have to see it. When I talked about the pink elephant, you guys smiled. They're not going to smile at this. So you have to give them an opportunity to make that well-informed decision, but in order to do that, you got to know about them. And if you don't know about them at the beginning of the process, don't worry about objection handling. We're not going to talk about that because you can't objection handle if you don't know a little bit about the customer and their needs. So you got to remember that when you paint pictures and tell stories, you personalize that situation to your customer's experience, and it enhances the customer's experience. Okay? Now, don't mind read. You don't need to. I'll give you an example of mind reading because I know why we do it too, because we think we want to do for the best interest of the customers, but you're robbing them blind. And I'll tell you why. I'll give you an example. I love examples because they really drive the point home. Imagine I had a food cart here. Chicken noodle soup, roast beef sandwich, and pierogies. Okay? Susie over there is hungry. It's lunchtime. Now I got to decide what she wants to eat, so just bear with me here. Hey, Susie, hungry? Okay, give me 1 second. What did the last 6 people get? Roast beef sandwich, okay. Hey, Susie, you want roast beef sandwich? What does Susie say? No? Oh, no? Okay, you're a little discouraged. Susie's like, okay, no problem. Give me 1 sec, Susie. Okay, what do I like? I like tuna casserole. Okay. Susie, tuna casserole. No? Now we're discouraged. Susie's almost like, okay, what's going on here? And we know that we have to go through all our products, all the customers. So we're going to go over the last one. Okay, give me 1 sec, Susie. And the confidence is out the roof. You don't even have confidence now. What's the spiff on? Chicken noodle soup, okay. Susie, chicken noodle soup. No. All of a sudden we're saying, hey, look, man, don't give her CSI. We had an issue. We had conflict. Not the way to do it. We forget that customers are smart beyond measure. Same as ourselves. I don't try to guess stuff. I ask you questions on your discovery so I can know about you so I can tailor this program. So here's another way of doing it, okay? Susie, you hungry? Yep, okay. We have this chicken noodle soup, 20 generations deep. It's my great-great-great-great-grandma's recipe. It's been here for a reason. Actually, the local store picked it up. We have the roast beef sandwich. That bread was just baked this morning. That's what you're smelling right now. Doesn't it smell so good? Yeah, yeah. And we have pierogies. That's Baba's favorite. That's Baba's favorite. She, again, this has been in the family for how many years? What suits your taste buds, Susie? Susie will pick. Susie will pick. Imagine you went to the keg. Hey, do you want a steak? No. Do you want a soup? Do you want the hamburger? You'd be like, what's going on? No, instead they tell you about the mouth-watering dish. So you could almost salivate. And then they give you a menu and you're take. Now, I went to Calgary, and depending on who we are, that's how we used to present sometimes. I went to Calgary, I did some training there, and I was out with my brother. I was extra hungry that day. So the person reached over to me and asked me what I wanted to eat, and I said I wanted to eat this. And then she immediately turns over to my brother. I'm like, whoa, is there a quota here? Because you think people just want one meal, right? Not necessarily. Imagine your parents came to you and said, hey, you should be a doctor. You should be this, you should be that. You'd be like, Father, Mom, that's not me. But you don't want people telling you what to do. But what if they gave you job descriptions of each job? Do you think you'd not pick? We need to give the customers those job descriptions and they will pick. So again, it's amazing when you could just give somebody that information, they will make the right decision. People ain't running stupid. But we're treating them sometimes like they don't know what they're talking about or what's best for them. You either create value, or you create nothing. There's no in between. So if a customer leaves, don't say, oh, that customer's a flake. They couldn't finance a chocolate bar with $1 down. This is foolish because when we look in, we see what we did. Because when customers leave unprotected, guess what? We didn't do our job because when something happens, they don't know how to handle it. They're also paying money. They're silent sufferers because you never hear about them, especially when we don't go over life and disability. Now, the difference between a high gross per unit finance manager and a low gross per unit finance manager is pretty simple. Customer engagement, build that rapport. Objection handling skills, which you're going to get some real nice one today, real nice. And cash, confidence, attitude, skills, and habits. Look how confidence is so important. Look, imagine I'm training this course, same words. Feelings drive change. You create the gap or the customer will. Give your, same words, but what's the impact? So when you say you went over warranty, don't fool yourself. Because if it's a day you came over, you went to the club the day and you're tired and you presented, you're acting like you presented, you have this feel good, don't fool yourself. It's a game of inches. So you have that opportunity, and this is what we're trying to shine light on, because most of what we're looking for is within us. It's an inside job, it's not outside.